Welcome back, everybody. My name is Grace, or Gibby, whatever you prefer, and today I'm here with a seasonal event guide for the Blarney, also known as the St. Patrick's Day, seasonal event. Now, I've made seasonal event guides before, and in those guides, I'd go through all of the quests and monsters as well as the items, but in this guide, I'm just going through the items because this event is unique, and that as you can see here, you can open up a shop from the modern event and get all of the rewards for the previous years. As you can see, I'm scrolling through them. They're very easy to find and look at, so there's no need to go through all those quests. So I'm simply going to talk about the items. Now, if you don't want to listen to me talk for 15 minutes, perfectly fine. I have a Google Doc linked in the description, which has Infosubs to all of the items and some color coding to see what items are pretty good and what items are kind of trashy. Without further ado, I'm just going to get right into it, except that I'm going to talk about my first top items list before going into every single item. So there are the Kaze, Tsuchi, and Hikari's Lucky Strike weapons. Those are all pretty good gap fillers for anyone with luck, and they come in wind, earth, and light, and melee ranged and magic. There's the Blarney 18th commemorative spoon, which is a weapon that boosts dark spells lucky strike rate and dark attacks by 1.375 times. So it's useful for hypercrit shenanigans and just a darkness spell booster that's free to play. Alchemical Unity is a magic or ranged weapon with stupidly strong blinds. The Leprechaun Pet and Guest are really strong free to play light boosters. The Ninja Assassin Lawyer contract is a very good free to play dark guest with bleed and entangle and pure damage. The Golden Queen is the strongest earth pet in the game if you pay a gold upkeep cost, and Zardate is a great compression defensive misc for warriors. Now, if you're interested in all the other items, of which there are many, I'll get into those now. The Mystic Unicorn Bowie and the Unicorn Bowie are melee and magic light daggers that deal about 2% less damage than normal, but have a 5% chance to clear poisons that are equal to your player level. If they're higher, it won't clear them. It has funny retro art, and you hold it in an ice pick position, which is kind of fun. Aside from that, it's unnotable. There's the Fighting Shillelagh, which is a 20 proc melee energy club that deals 1.1 times damage and Ellie seeks against leprechauns and does 97% damage against everything else. It's useful for Blarney wars and not much else. There's the Kaze, Tsuchi, and Hikari, Shamrock, Sensu, Naginata, and Shuriken. These are earth, light, and wind weapons that are a Shuriken for the ranged 100 proc, a fan for the melee 0 proc, and Naginata for the, excuse me, I misspoke. Yeah, so there's a ranged 100 proc, a ranged low proc weapon, and a melee 0 proc. And they all have 1.5 lucky strike chance. They're solid gap fillers for anyone who uses luck and attacks for damage. The Blarney 18th commemorative spoon is a 100 proc magic dark wand with a 20 proc true special, and it grants 1.375 times lucky strike damage with dark attacks and spells, but only for guardians. There's the Cai Man Warden's Glaive and the Cai Man's Reefstalker's Glaive, which are earth and water, melee/ranged toggle spears. Excuse me, they're only ranged spears, which are 10 proc and take their MCs to boost the special damage, so that it does 250% melee and damage, or 25% more damage than a spell. There's Alchemical Unity, which is a 0 proc light ranged or magic halberd that has two modes. One does 7.5% bonus damage to foes that are blinded, and the other blinds based off damage dealt, and it's extremely powerful when combined with weapon-based nuking strategies, since you can make the blind extremely strong by doing a high amount of damage. There's the Clovermore, which is a simple 20 proc earth sword, and it also goes well with the Celtic bow and the Celtic staff. These are all 20 proc earth weapons, and the bow is 100 proc but with a 20 proc true special, and their special inflicts a minus 80 unlucky on the foe. And the bow itself has a minus 10 bonus to hit lean, which would be notable if there wasn't a better low BTH weapon in this same shop. There's the Blarney 16th Commemorative Spoon, which is a 100 proc magic light wand that has a 20 proc true special. There's the Blunderloss, which is a 0 proc melee fire sword that has a 33% chance to do plus 15% damage. Basically, it's a 5% normal damage MC, but it has a small chance of triggering and a very small animation when it happens. There's the Musket Blade, which is a 20 proc melee water sword with a 4.25 bonus to hit MC. And finally, there is the Lucky Blade Henge, which I can't quite find, which is a 10 proc magic wind sword, or magic wind club, or scepter, I can't tell, which triggers to do 1.1 times damage against leprechauns, and it reduces Drackle bonus to hit by 6. It pays 2.5% damage as a down trigger. Finally, there is the Gold Spraying Gatling, which is a weapon that caps at level 145, and it's a 100 proc ranged earth gun, and it has a minus 10 BTH lean and does 6 hits. It's great for circumventing damage caps for high damage ranged bow users. Those are almost all the weapons, except that I missed one, which is the Gilded Warbow. Now, the Gilded Warbow is pretty simple. It's a 100 proc light bow that has a minus 6 bonus to hit lean. And that is all the weapons for Blarney. For the armors, we have a couple of armors for this season. One, there's the Pirate Chuan, which is a fully defensive water light compression armor with 40/40 resists. It's also quite fashionable. Its MC is that it gets luck divided by 250 to MRM, or divided by 50, to MRM, which is capped at 6, so it caps out at 300 luck. For melee and magic weapons, it's a 3-hit armor. It's a 1-hit armor on ranged weapons, unless, of course, it's a 100 proc. The 4-leaf clover power armor is a fully offensive earth light 41/41 compression armor, and it has a 50 luck drive on clicking the little orb. You can't see it, it's on the top left. Its attacks are varied, but it converts all melee attacks to ranged damage. The Leprechaun Power Armor is this beauty, but it's a fully offensive energy light compression armor with 41/41 resists. It has slightly random attacks with a 1/4 chance at extra damage and a 3/4 chance at slightly reduced damage. There is the Matchmaker Armor, which is a fully defensive fire armor that deals plus 7.5% damage with bows and spears, and it has 2 toggles. The Heartbreaker Matchmaker mode reduces your damage by 40% and then inflicts a control at a minus 10 save. The Certified Matchmaker skill pays 490 SP and inflicts a minus 12 blind to give you celerity for 1 turn, but also locks you to the armor. The cost ramps up each time you use it. If this is updated and it uses celerity like H series instead, it'll become very strong. Finally, the last armor is the Fortune Thief. Fortune Thief is a fully offensive earth armor with a 4-hit weapon-based skill that is locked to ranged and pays 25% damage to inflict unlucky, unless the foe is already unlucky, in which case it does full damage. It also has an initiative boost and a passive effect that if monster luck is higher than player luck, you reduce incoming damage until your first turn by a small percentage, and if your luck is higher than the monster's luck, you instead increase your range damage by 50% until the monster takes their first turn. This is a very potent armor for fully offensive rangers and spear users. It's very, very strong for those categories. In fact, it probably belongs as a must pickup in my top 5 list. Next, we're going to talk about the shields. There are two main shields here. There's the Knotwork shield and the Tartan shield. Both of these are dual element earth and light shields with minus 21 to earth and minus 20 to light at level 50. And they're both strictly worse than the Sackleberry Guard shield, which is found in the Zard Hunter shop. They're both very poor, although they do look just charming, don't they? So, we're going to move on to spells. The first spell I'm going to talk about is the Leprechaun Guest. Now, the Leprechaun Guest is simply a MP or SP version that's a light booster guest, and it gives a 63% light damage boost. And half of it is from Charisma, and half of it is base. So without Charisma, you'll only get about 31.5% damage. You can also overcap the boost to 69%. It's extremely potent for free-to-play, and it really synergizes with stuff like Paladin, White Knight Z, or light weapon-based skills. Meteor Back is a skill spell, so it's an SP spell that uses strength and dex. I don't know how it changed with the stat revamp, but presumably it uses strength because it deals melee damage. After a quick fact check, it is a strength scaling SP spell. It also has a minus 10 bonus to hit lean and is only one hit, so it's basically a clone of the Boulder Dash spell, for anyone curious. It's super niche, and it caps out at level 147, which is fine, so it costs 387 SP. There's the Summon Guardian Dragontron, which is an MP only, fire and light guest, and it attacks randomly with each element on each turn, and it does 1.1x damage to compensate for being random. Finally, we have the Ninja Assassin Lawyer contract, which is an SP only dark guest with 3 gold costing attacks, 1 entangles, 1 bleeds, and the final does plus 40% damage. Moving swiftly on, we're going to go to pets. The Cai Man Warrior is a earth and water element seeking pet, and it pays its MC to element seek. The Unled Leprechaun is a dark pet that can pay half damage to toggle for poison or do pure damage. This is a pet that can be used to do some cheesy poison stuff, but aside from that, it's not too notable. The Gilded Leprechaun is a light pet that can toggle to pay half its damage for blind or do pure damage. It's a fine blind pet. The Ninja Chuan is a simple light pet with a plus 10 bonus to hit lean. The Leprechaun is a simple light booster, just like the guest, but it caps at 40% damage because it's a pet, not a guest. And finally, the Golden Gween, which is an earth pet that can take some gold to deal 1.3 times damage multiplicatively. It's extremely potent with additive boosters and other boosting. So it's a very strong Beastmaster pet, especially if you run luck and use crit chance. Finally, for the Miscs, we have the Concentrated Clover Essence, which is a misc that gives 50 luck and makes your LS damage half as strong, but twice as likely. It also gives minus 7 earth resistance and 50 luck. There's the Blarney hat, which gives 50% resistance to water and 50 luck for a low upkeep of 56 SP. And the Concentrated Clover Essence is 48 SP. Finally, there's Zardade, which is exactly like Cyclops Eye in that it defends against the element you last took damage from. Once per turn it changes, but it also gives 45 strength, so it has a higher upkeep of 75 SP. And that is pretty much it for Blarney this year until the war finishes and we'll get a sword item as a reward. But that's pretty much it. That's all the items in Blarney. I recommend you check them out. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed and have a great day. Bye-bye.